this is actually why I think you were remembering Roger Rabbit.
Okay, yeah, please dig
Christine releases a freaking anvil.
There you go.
That was tied up to the ceiling.
Maybe that's
and it smashes Mrs. Ganush's head.
Maybe that's
and
it.
her eyes pop out
there
and fly into Christine's face.
There it is. Okay, good. We got it.
Hey peeps, this is the Scary Movie Project, the podcast where we talk about scary movies, share our perspectives as filmmakers, where psychics are real, and so are our spoilery spoilers. I'm Tara.
Hello, all you scoundrels out there. I'm Matt.
Ooh.
Tara, I want to tell you about this person that I know. Would you like to hear this story quickly?
Yes.
Well, it's about this woman, Christine Brown. She has a good job, a great boyfriend, and a bright future.
Okay.
Problem is, in 3 days, she's going to hell.
Oh, no!
That's terrible, I know. But it's entertaining for us because we're talking about the 2009 film Drag Me to Hell. So thank you for joining us as we discuss this evening.
And this was requested by Faith. Faith, we think you're a listener. We can't find your request, but we have it that you requested this in our list. So whoever you are, wherever you are, call us.
Is it possible that it's the band Faith No More requesting it?
Maybe Faith No More requested it, and I just thought it was like first name Faith, last name No More.
Okay, hey, it's possible. Whoever requested
Faith No More.
Thank you, because I've seen this film before. I saw it when it was released many years ago, and I watched it again. I enjoy it. I like this movie.
Yes, thank you, Faith. This is such a fun watch.
Yes, it is fun. Fun.
So
that's the word for this movie. It's fun.
It's fun. It's just fun.
It's fun.
So this came out in 2009, directed by the inimitable Sam Raimi,
who I hope everyone is aware of because he's pretty famous.
He's pretty big.
He's done a few movies you heard of, yeah. Maybe
just a few.
Spider-Man. I don't know. Evil Dead stuff. I mean,
one of the Spider-Mans at least.
Well, there's like 1,000 of them now. I think there's
a few of them. I'm not sure how many he did.
I saw a commercial for a new one the other day, and I just said, I don't even know what's going on anymore. How many are? I mean, there's a lot of like Halloweens and Nightmare on Elm Street. So that's fair, but how many Spider-Man?
There's like sequels and there's like reboots and there's like alternate universes.
Yeah, I don't understand.
And then there's the cartoon one where there's like several Spider-Mans from different like planes of reality, planes of existence.
So
which actually was a really fun movie.
I saw the one with what's his face, Tobey Maguire, and that was it.
Oh yeah. We went to see the cartoon one with our friends and their kids, and it was so much fun with the kids there because they were like enthralled and loving it.
Right.
So it made it so much more fun than just going to see it ourselves.
Right. Yeah, I can't keep up with that stuff.
So interesting note here though about our friend Sam Raimi.
He's our friend. Okay.
He did not originally want to direct this himself.
Is that right?
He asked Edgar Wright to do it.
I thought you were going to say he asked Edgar Allan Poe to do it. I thought, but he's dead. No, he's dead.
He's dead. Edgar Wright though was working on Hot Fuzz.
Oh, Edgar Wright. He did. What else did he do?
He did a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, Hot Fuzz. Oh wow.
Yeah, Hot Fuzz. I think I'm drawing a blank right now. But anyways, he was working on Hot Fuzz, and he also didn't really think he was a good fit, so he turned it down. And then Sam Raimi decided to direct it himself.
Shouldn't have turned that down. Oh well, live and learn.
It was maybe it wouldn't have been the right the movie that it is if Edgar Wright had done it.
It's possible.
I think he said something about that it would turn. What did he say? It would be like a. He said something like that it would be like an SNL skit of it, or I can't remember exactly what he said, but he said something like
Saturday TV Funhouse. Those were great.
That however it was, it just wouldn't work right with him.
So this movie reminds me of two films: Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and it reminds me of The Frighteners.
Wait, why does it remind you of Who Framed Roger Rabbit? I need to dig into this a little bit.
I don't really have the answer for you for that, unfortunately.
Okay.
I don't know.
Just made you think of it?
I don't know how or why that is. There's something in my subconscious that made me think of this movie for some reason, and it reminds me of The Frighteners a little bit. I don't know. If you ever saw The Frighteners.
So do you have a reason for reminding you of The Frighteners?
I think just kind of the surreal, kind of weird, just wacky stuff that kind of seems to happen.
Because some weird stuff happened. Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
That's kind of Roger Rabbit too, I guess, the slapstick stuff. I don't know. It just seems like
I guess, I mean, there are definitely parts of this movie that are funny.
Yes.
Like, there is, like we said, there's fun in this movie.
Yes.
There's enjoyment to be had when she gets her mouth puked into like 3 times in the movie.
Saying, right? It's like, so gross and it's so funny. Anyway, that's
Okay. So we know it was directed by Sam Raimi. We know all that now. It was also written by Sam Raimi and his brother Ivan Raimi.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
How many brothers? There's like 4 of these brothers, aren't there? There's like a Ted.
I believe there's 4, and one of them died as a teenager or something.
It's like these Canadian hockey players that are all like brothers that all play in the NHL. It's like, what is this all about?
Ivan is apparently like an osteopath or something. Like he's a practicing doctor, and then he just like, I guess every once in a while takes some time off and writes a movie with his brother Sam.
Dude, that's not a bad way to live your life. Jeez, okay.
I'm like, I'll take that life,
Seriously,
please. Thank you very much.
No shortage of making cash. Wow, anyway.
So they wrote this in like around 1992, right after they completed Army of Darkness.
Yep, right. Well, okay, yeah. Wow.
But then like Sam Raimi was pursuing other projects before he came back to this.
That's
so
how
it took him a while
these guys
to get
are
back
always
to it.
working on something else, right?
Yeah. So what? That's like a good 17, 18 years before it came out after he wrote it.
It's a long time, man. It's a long time.
So it was probably by the time they started working on it, it was at least 15 or 16 years later.
Yeah. How about that? Isn't that crazy? Yeah.
Interesting how things just sort of sit sometimes.
Writers, same way. They write stuff, they put it away for a while, and then
Yeah, totally.
And then you always wonder to yourself, like, well, why didn't you work on this? This is amazing. But that's how we think about it.
And then sometimes maybe you do work on it later, or sometimes it never sees the light of day. Like I have stuff that like I've started writing several times and I know the whole story, but I haven't I just haven't been in the right like place to write the whole thing, I guess. I haven't gotten there. Someday I will be, I hope, and then I will get it out.
And then everyone will love it. Yeah.
But not to compare myself to writers like Sam and Ivan Raimi.
That's okay.
Because
you'll make something the world
they're
will
a whole different ballgame than me. But yes. So also remind me, because they wrote it so much earlier, remind me to tell you the original idea for the ending after we go through the movie.
Okay.
Don't let me forget to tell you that, because it's kind of interesting, I think.
Okay.
So are we ready to dive in?
Come on, man.
The water's nice.
What's what I came here for.
So we open on like some scary violin music.
Yes.
And then creepy voices singing. As a farm worker brings his wife and his son to Sean Sandina, this woman who lives in a very nice mansion. And I think they're in, we find out later, they're in like, I think Southern California somewhere.
Yeah, of course.
So they're telling her that their son has been hearing voices and that he stole a necklace from a gypsy wagon. But they returned it, but still he stole it.
Mess with oh, God.
And
all right, so I was gonna say there's actually one more movie this movie reminds me of. Too.
Oh no.
Thinner. Did you ever see Thinner?
Oh, ages ago.
Yeah, because it's the whole curse thing. It reminds me of that.
Yeah. We'll have to do that at some point. I haven't seen that in many, many years.
It's not a great movie. The story by Stephen King is great. The movie's but
so
this movie, so 3 different movies.
But so while we're on the boy stealing the necklace from the gypsy, we should talk about the word gypsy for a minute.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, because it is considered by the Roma to be a derogatory term.
That's right.
But they use the word in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
So just like it's in the movie, I feel like they're not using it as considering her to be a Roma, but that they're more playing on the the feel of the word, but it's still it's a little problematic. So let's just get it out in the open right up front.
when I was in Romania, I wanted to travel the countryside and visit with the Roma and the Gypsies, but I did not. So, but I would. I think that would be fun.
Yeah, I mean, they're very interesting people.
Absolutely. I wanted to hang out with them.
But I think because gypsy, you know, we use the word, you know, oh, I've been gypped, and that's a shortened form of gypsy. And it's just kind of something that I think most of us don't realize.
Well, it's a stereotype.
Is a derogatory word, but it kind of is.
It's a stereotype thing, just like in any of these movies, like in Thinner and stuff, when the gypsy put the curse on you. It's like, that's just so, you know, it's lame. I know, but...
Yeah.
It is what it is.
It's just one of those things that, you know, we didn't know better when this movie was made, and now we do. Sure. So yeah, we try to do better now. Anyways, he stole the necklace, and they take the boy inside. Now he's like seeing things, and Shauna Sandina starts praying over him, and then an invisible force blows the doors open and buffets everyone in the room around the whole room. And it picks up the boy and hurls him like out the door of the room and over the balustrade onto the floor below. And the boy's still alive, but the floor cracks and opens up, and fire is down there, and like huge hand grabs him and drags him down. And then we get the credits. And the credits are cool. They're kind of in the form of like a book.
Yeah.
And the line drawings are really good.
Yeah, pretty neat.
And in the book, it says, the like one bit of writing that I caught says it takes 3 days for the curse to develop.
Yeah. That's kind of like when we talked about The Ring, and in 6 days when you watch a movie, you die, right? Or whatever, 7 days.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man.
It's, I mean.
No, thank you.
It's 7 days.
Yeah. No, yeah. I'm good.
Yeah. No, thank you.
Thanks.
So yeah, this says it takes 3 days for the curse to develop. So from that we can deduce this movie is going to happen over the course of 3 days.
At least 3 days. Yes.
Yes. At least. Because you never know what might happen.
Well, you know.
Except that we know. So we'll tell you. So now we're in a big city, which again, I think is in Southern California, but I wasn't ever sure exactly where it was.
It's LA, or it's, you know.
Yeah, if it was LA or San Diego,
I don't think it's
San Francisco. Maybe San Francisco.
Not if it's Southern California, it's not San Francisco.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It's probably not San Diego. I'm guessing it's LA, or it's a suburb of LA or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, they show a cityscape, and I did not recognize it, even though I lived in LA for a little while. I did not recognize it.
But yeah, Southern California, that'll work. We'll go with that.
So it's in Southern California in a big city, probably LA.
Yes, let's say LA.
Christine Brown, played by Allison Lohman, drives as she listens to her diction practice, and she's saying, "Good sounds abound when the mouth is round."
round.
And here's your next big tidbit.
Oh, okay, lay it on me.
Guess who was cast as Christine but dropped out to star in Whip It? That would be, because you have no idea, I can tell.
I don't even know what Whip It is.
That would be, I think it's a dance movie?
I mean, I know the Devo song, Whip It Good. That's a good
the
song.
Devos.
But
I think it might be.
I'm not aware of
one of those. It's a dance or a cheerleading movie or something. Anyways, Elliot Page.
I don't know that person.
So Elliot Page used to be Ellen Page.
Okay. I don't know either person.
You don't?
No. Tell me movies this person's been in.
Currently, Elliot Page is in the Umbrella Academy. Elliot Page has been in. Let's see. Hard Candy is my favorite, but it's not a very big movie.
I haven't seen that, but I know about it.
Juno.
Haven't seen it.
That movie about the girl who's pregnant. Sure. That was a pretty big movie.
Okay.
Those are the ones I can think of offhand.
All right. So so that was going to be the role played by. Okay.
Yeah. So it was going to be played by Elliot Page.
Okay.
But he dropped out to star in Whip It.
Okay.
And I don't know. I think it would have been. Yeah. I think it would have been a very different movie.
Well, what's her face? Al Lohman. She did this, but she's not even like an actor anymore, is she?
I'm not sure.
I don't think she is, and she really hasn't done much.
But she's good, and
she
has so much of a more like innocent, fresh from the farm look
she's
than
good. Yeah.
Elliot Page did at that time.
I would agree with that. That's accurate.
That I feel like it would have been strange with Elliot Page because Elliot Page seems a little more like worldly and a little more.
Okay.
I don't know. I think it would have been very strange. Anyways, fair. She's listening to her diction practice, and because as we will find out later, she is from a farm and she's now in the big city in California and everything. So she's trying to like lose the farm girl and be like a city girl.
Hip.
Yes. So she parks and she goes into her job at a bank. And she asks her boss, Mr. Jax, who's played by David Paymer, and I cannot remember for the life of me what he's in, but he's in a
whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah, like I saw him and I was like, I love him.
Yeah, he does TV,
I don't remember what he's in, but I love him.
You'd look his name up and you'd see his filmography, and he'd be like, oh, I know that. Oh, I know that. Oh, I know that.
Yeah. You'd be like, oh, I remember him. Oh, yeah, of course he was in that. Oh, yeah, I know. But I never remember what he's in. I just know I love him. So she asks her boss, Mr. Jax, if he's decided on the new assistant manager position yet. And basically it comes out that he's considering her, but he's also considering the new guy, Stu.
Okay. You may not know that. I don't know if you watch these. Is Stu Johnny Tran from Fast and Furious?
I've never watched any of the Fast and Furious movies.
So good.
I have no idea.
I love them. He is in Fast and Furious, I'm pretty sure.
Okay,
well, never mind then. But I'm pretty sure he's Johnny Tran from one of the Fast and... Listeners, if he's Johnny Tran from Fast and Furious, please let me know, because I think it is. I'll look him up.
Okay, well, or you can look it up.
Yeah. Well,
or you can do your own homework, Matt.
Fine. Well, I'm trying to engage our listeners here.
And come on, listeners. Yeah, help us out here.
He's in Fast and Furious.
No, you're right. We want our listeners to help us out always.
Fine, I'll look it up right now. You keep going.
Okay, so Stu is the new guy, and he is being considered for assistant manager as well as Christine.
Yes.
And Mr. Jax asks Christine to get him a sandwich, and Stu like walks by and tells her to grab him one too, and is like, spicy mustard.
Oh, right, the sandwich ordering thing.
He's like, yeah, grab me one too, spicy mustard. And so Christine then goes and she eats lunch with her boyfriend at his job. It's Clay Dalton. That's played by Justin Long, the Mac guy.
Who is the Mac guy? That's right. I used to love those ads. I wish they hadn't taken those off. Those were entertaining. And he is also in Jeepers Creepers.
Yes, he is. In this, as I said, he's Christine's boyfriend. He's a professor. And she like fixes his printer for him. He says it's broken and it can't be fixed, and she like finds a paper clip in it because she's super smart.
Yes. Super smart,
I guess.
Not just smart,
and she
smart.
gives him a special like collectible coin that she found at the bank.
That's right.
And he puts it in an envelope to keep it. Then Christine's leaving, and as she's leaving, Clay's mom calls and immediately starts talking about, that girl, and like she doesn't know who she is because they haven't met, and she's like talking about their expectations for him and telling him about another girl that they'd like to see him with. Like, I was talking to her mother at tennis and blah blah blah, and all this stuff. And Christine like overhears it because she literally had like just scooted out the door.
Right. She's kind of
and she
listening.
leaves.
Right.
She's very sad.
Yes, very sad.
And then she gets back to the office with Stu's and Mr. Jack's sandwich orders. And Stu like negs her about messing up his order. Like he's like, "Oh, you messed my order up."
Yeah.
And she's like,
"I told you I didn't want mayonnaise."
Like, no, I didn't. He's
no,
like,
it's
"Yeah,
cool, though.
I said no mayo. It's cool. Yeah. It's okay. Don't worry about it." And she's like, no, like what?"
Right.
So he totally is just a complete dick to her.
Pretty much.
And then right after they eat lunch, he gives Mr. Jax Lakers tickets.
Like courtside seats.
Right, like courtside seats to the Lakers. So which makes me think they are in LA.
By the way, the Lakers suck, in case anyone wants to know.
Ooh. I bet we have some listener who is going to call you out for that.
I don't care. I hate them. I'm a Trailblazers fan, so I just wanted to put that on record. So
I don't even know who the Trailblazers are. I'm going to be honest.
Greatest team ever, but we're not going to go to that right
now.
So.
Where are the Trailblazers?
The Trailblazers. They are the Portland Trailblazers.
Oh,
Yes.
Okay.
But that's a conversation for another time.
That's conversation for your sports podcast that you will someday start, I'm sure.
For another time.
For another time.
But they mentioned the Lakers in the movie, so I had to just point out that I hate them and that they suck.
Yeah. But I also think that means it probably is LA.
Yeah, or close by. Exactly.
Or right outside it, yeah.
Okay, so I have just information. Reggie Lee plays this character in the movie. He is not Johnny Tran. He plays Lance Nguyen in The Fast and the Furious. So wrong character, right movie. But yes, he is in Fast and Furious. So continue.
Okay.
Please.
Okay. Very good. Good on you.
Love those movies.
So then an old woman with like one whited out eye comes in, Mrs. Ganush.
Yes.
And she is like tapping her fingers on the table. And then she asks Christine for help.
They're pretty gnarly, by the way.
Yeah, they're gnarly. Her fingernails are gross.
Yeah.
And the bank is trying to repossess her house today.
Yeah.
And Christine is like, well, I don't think my manager will help. But, you know, the woman's like, oh, please. So she says she'll ask anyway. So she goes and she asks Mr. Jack. And he basically tells her, like,
make the decision.
It's her call. Right. But it's kind of like she knows that he's already said earlier that he's interested in Stu because Stu is like a
butt kisser.
Really well, because he says he's like, I can't remember the exact word he used, but he's aggressive. He like says he's aggressive. Yeah. And that's good. And so she
had said they'd given her 2 extensions already, right, on this mortgage?
Yeah. Well, so they've given her 2 extensions already, and she's like, can't we just give her one more? And he's like, it's your call. It's your call. And so she goes back because she knows the assistant manager job is on the line here.
Yeah.
So she decides to tell Mrs. Ganush that she can't help. And she tries to console the woman, but Mrs. Ganush gets on her knees and begs.
Literally begs. Yeah.
And then grabs her skirt. Yeah, and Christine calls security.
I don't think I would.
And backs away, and Miss Ganush falls over, and security's like grabbing her, and she's like, "You shame me!"
Right.
And security escorts
Would you really
her out.
Need to be called security for something like that? I don't know, but whatever.
I don't know. I don't know. Well, she did grab her clothes and was like pulling on her clothes. So maybe she was nervous.
I guess.
But so as security escorts her out, she like turns around and lunges for Christine.
Sure does.
And security hustles her out, and Mr. Jax basically tells Christine that she handled it just right.
Right. So corny.
Yeah, and it's funny, like Mr. Jax is like, he's kind of not a great manager.
No,
it seems like,
but crappy boss.
He seems like a decent guy. Like he is concerned about her and stuff. But he's like, you handled it just right. Because anyways, apparently, when Miss Ganush is being let out of the bank, Octavia Spencer, who is now totally famous, is one of Christine's coworkers in the background.
Okay.
And I'm trying to think of what she's in, and I can't right now, but she's in a bunch of stuff now. And she was one of the like extras in the background in this scene, apparently.
Okay.
So at the end of the day, Mr. Jax gives Christine work to take home so that he can show it to the regional manager tomorrow.
Which nobody
And he
wants
tells her
to do.
She's top of the list for the assistant manager job. So she's like, oh, of course.
Oh, she is. Well, she's in Halloween 2. She plays a nurse in Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. She gets murdered.
Wait, who is?
Octavia Spencer. I remember her from that. It's a bit role. But
wait, am I thinking of the wrong person then?
And if you're thinking of the actress Octavia Spencer, and she also played what's her face? Yeah, Halloween 2, and she was the woman in that movie Ma, where she has all the kids come to the house. So those are the 2 that I know.
Okay, that's a much more recent movie, right?
Yes, 2019.
Okay, I am thinking of the right person. What else has she been in recently?
Recent stuff. Let's see.
Since you're looking at it.
Yeah, I'll just do a filmography here if I can find it. Recent. Yeah, Halloween 2. I remember Michael Myers stabs her to death in the hospital. Let's see. 2016, Bad Santa 2, The Shack. She was in Shape of Water.
Okay.
Ma.
That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of
Yep.
Shape of
There you
Water and
go.
stuff like that.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, she's
she's
time.
the friend in Shape of Water.
Yeah, she's big time.
So yeah, she's a pretty big actress now. Anyway, she was paying her dues
I
back
don't
then.
remember that, but okay, cool. All right, that's interesting.
Yeah, I didn't notice it either, but I found it as trivia, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool,
good.
actually.
That is good.
So, so Mr. Jax has given Christine work to take home. She's excited to take the work home because he's going to show it to the regional manager tomorrow.
She's the only person in the world that's excited to take work home, by the way.
Right?
Yeah.
It's for some big client that she's almost got, like she's got on the hook to come in and bring their business to the bank.
Yep.
So in the garage, she sees this beat up car that she doesn't recognize, and then she hears coughing. The car, by the way, is a yellow Delta 88.
See, look at that. There you go. I always like to talk about cars.
And here you go. So maybe you can tell me something about a yellow Delta 88. I don't know anything about Delta 88s, but what I do know about it is that it is the same car that is used in the Evil Dead films.
Okay, well, there you go. That's a kind of a, tribute kind of thing. That's
so there was a little tribute there.
Yeah, that's great. I like that.
Then she sees the car, she hears coughing, she gets in her car, and Mrs. Ganush's handkerchief that she had when she was in the bank flies into her windshield, and then all of a sudden Mrs. Ganush is in the back seat.
Yeah, looking all scary and crazy.
And she goes after Christine. She grabs Christine's
ear. They have
ear.
quite a brawl in the car.
Oh my God. Well, Christine grabs a stapler and she staples the woman's bad eye. Yes. And then they're fighting. And like Christine ends up like backing her car up and then revving forward and like ramming her car into a truck.
She puts her seatbelt on just in time. It's that slow.
She puts her seatbelt on. She slams into a truck.
And and the woman goes on her. Dentures go flying and shatter.
She ends up in the front seat. Like she flies from the back seat to the front seat and her dentures come out.
That's such like a
and then
bizarre.
She reaches over to Christine and she's like gumming her chin.
Right.
Right. And then she like grabs her dentures from the floor and she pops them back in. She lunges for Christine again and Christine grabs a ruler and shoves it into her mouth.
Sure does.
So it like
it's like
spears the back of her mouth.
It's like slapstick stuff almost. It's like it's
so ridiculous.
Yes, it's so crazy. Like you're laughing while you're like, but at the same time it's like, oh damn, but like you're laughing about it. It's weird.
Well, but wait, there's more.
No, there sure is.
Because Miss Ganush spits the ruler out at Christine.
Yep.
Christine dodges it, but then she kicks her out. She manages to kick her out the door of the car, like somehow get the car door open and kick her out the passenger door. And then she locks the doors and Miss Ganush is outside the car and Christine's like, I beat you, you old bitch.
Yeah, that's good.
Now, to film all of this.
Yeah, interesting how they did all that.
They created a puzzle car. And the front engine compartment, the back trunk, all four sides, the doors, they can all just come off.
What do they say? They call it when it's wild also or something like that, they say, or something like that.
I don't know, but they could pull it all apart.
They could do whatever they wanted
as they
with
needed
it.
to.
Yeah.
To
very
film
cool.
more easily in it. Isn't that neat?
That is very cool. I mean, that makes sense. It's probably a lot of work to build and take it apart, but I imagine that took a very long time to shoot.
Well, and think about the close shots that they got that you would not be able to be sitting in the back seat with a big, probably an Arri Alexa or some crap, not even Alexa, an Arri camera, like a big camera.
Who knows though what they had? This movie was made 10, 12 years ago now.
But you've got this big cinema camera, professional cinema camera, and you're gonna squeeze in the back car.
So they were able to create their own set. Yeah, that's
so they could pull
idea.
Pieces off as they needed to.
That's a great idea.
So then she says that I beat you old bitch. I just wanted to say that again. And then Mrs. Ganush breaks the window and drags Christine out of the car.
Yes.
And she pulls a button off of the sleeve of her coat. Yeah. And she speaks at it in another language, and then she hands it back to her and says, soon it will be you who comes begging to me.
Mm.
And Christine gets up, and the woman is gone.
So that's where, it reminds me of the movie that, Thinner, where the whole gypsy curse thing was just that kind of.
So Sylvia is cursing in Hungarian.
Okay.
So she says, I'm going to murder this, guys. Here we go.
Okay.
Az Ordag Zaljan Beled, which means shall the devil fly into you.
I hope no one ever says that to me.
And a few times she says Zasha, which means bitch or whore in English.
Okay.
And
this is
so
in Hungarian, you said?
In Hungarian, apparently.
Right.
Yeah.
I would like to visit Hungary.
So then Clay comes and picks her up, and later they talk, and she's feeling guilty as they walk down the sidewalk, and these leaves dramatically swirl up behind her, and she hears a violin just as they're passing a psychic's window. And so
good timing.
So she tells Clay, she's like, I know this is crazy, but like, I want to go in and get my fortune told. And he's like, he's very practical, and he doesn't believe in it, but she wants to go. So he goes in.
Here's what I'm going to do, right? This is just to give you information. And I encourage everyone to do it. Every year when I go to Renaissance Festival, because everyone should go to Maryland Renaissance Festival because it's amazing.
I mean, if you're anywhere near Maryland or can get there,
you should come anyway, and you should travel from afar. But I have not done this. I say this every year, and I'm actually going to do this next time I go. They have a fortune teller there. I'm going to have my fortune read next time I go.
They do.
Yep.
They do.
I'm going to do it
and
next
you say it every time and you never do it?
Nope. And this time I'm saying it on record in front of an audience here that I am going to do it next time.
My understanding is that the fortune teller there always has a long line. So get ready.
I have never noticed a long line when I've been there, but I've just, for some, you know why? Because I'm so damn cheap and it's like $25 and I'm like, I'm not going to pay $25. But this time I am going to pay $25 or probably $30 and I'm going to do it.
Well, she pays like $60. So you're getting a deal.
There you go. So yeah, I'm going to go. But yeah, I've always wanted to do that. It seems exciting. I love that kind of stuff. So anyway.
I have had my fortune told.
Never had it done.
I had a weird experience when I had my fortune told, actually. Most of it. So guys, this is like, okay, here we go.
Is it accurate?
Most of it was like, I kind of felt like, could be anything. Like my husband was deployed at the time, and it was like, oh, he'll come back to you, he'll be fine. And I'm like, okay, well, like, who wouldn't say that? Who's going to be like, your husband's going to die over there? Nobody, like, nobody's going to say that.
He'll be dead tomorrow afternoon.
But she did say, she said, there are 4 of you in your family. And I said, oh yeah, like my parents, me, my sister. And she said, no, 4 siblings. And I was like, nope, there's only 2. And she looked at me and she said, there were supposed to be 4.
Okay.
My mom had 2 miscarriages between me and my sister.
So there you go. Isn't that kind of scary?
But
right?
she like very seriously looked at me and was like, there were supposed to be 4. And I was like, oh,
that's kind of spooky, right?
That's weird.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
So, you mean, you know,
I don't know. Like, I don't know if she just figured if she was adamant about it, I would figure out some way to make it right.
Guessing,
but that seems unlikely.
Guessing that is just that's too much of a coincidence to guess that. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, right. I'm like, that seems really unlikely. Yeah. So I don't know. So
no, it's cool.
It was weird.
Yeah.
My husband did come back fine, by the way. He's A-okay.
Yes.
So she was right about that too in the end. But I sort of at the time was like, come on. Right. Who's not going to say that?
Exactly.
But anyway, so Clay pokes fun when they go in to get the fortune read. He's like teasing her about it. And Ram Jas Seer, as he calls himself, comes out. And he gets ready to tell Christine's fortune. And Clay like keeps interrupting, like
he's being a jerk
with philosophy and stuff.
He's being a jerk.
Until Christine finally asks him to stop.
Yeah.
And then Ram Jas is like, something, you lost something. And she's like, no. And he's like, something was taken from you. No, something was taken from you. A button. And he grabs her sleeve and turns it over. And there's the missing button. Like, you know. And so he says, he studies her coat sleeve and a breeze like stirs in the room. And Ramjas lifts Christine's hand. And then we, the audience, and he, of course, also see like a fire and a demon face. And he staggers back.
Unpleasant. Yeah.
Yeah, and he tells them he'll refund their money, and she sort of like pushes him. She's like, what? And he's like, a dark spirit has come upon you. And she tries to get him to say more, and all he will say is, perhaps someone has cursed you.
Yeah.
So then on the way home, Clay tells Christine, it's all a scam. In fact, he even tells her, like, basically he's like, she says, well, but he gave the money back, he refunded the money. He's like, yeah, but he didn't, did he? Like, he said he was going to, but when I told him to keep it, he kept it. So,
right.
Like, she was like, how can it be a scam? And he's like, yeah, but I mean, he still kept the money. So Clay drops Christine off at home where her kitten is waiting. She's a cute little kitten. And she gets to work on her paperwork. And then something makes a noise at her front door, and she can hear it going up the front of the house.
Mm-hmm.
And then the bushes outside her window rustle, and the front gate is swinging, and a wind goes through the whole house and turns all the lights out.
Yeah, it's pretty
and
good.
Jangles the pots
Spooky.
and pans.
Scary.
And she sees a goat-shaped shadow on the wall. It looks like a demon.
So,
or like a goat head, at least, like a human goat head shape.
And is that when those she sees the shadows of the hand that start creeping under the door and stuff like that, right? They're coming closer.
I think that's later. That's later.
Okay.
But yes, yeah. So right now it's just she sees a shadow of like a demon, goat-headed demon on the wall, and then the lights are back on. Clay comes back, and he's convinced it was Miss Ganush. And she says no one was there.
Right.
And so he asks her, well, then who hit her in the face? Because when the demon shadow came up, she like got whipped forward. And I think she banged her face on something, or I don't know, maybe the shadow did punch her face, but she's got like a bloody lip. So he's like, well, who hit you in the face then?
Right.
So now Clay sleeps over, and in the middle of the night, a fly buzzes in to the bedroom.
This is
And it lands on Christine's face, and it crawls up one nostril, and then out the other,
gross,
and then into her mouth.
Yeah.
And she wakes up coughing. And by the way, that just reminded me of the most traumatic experience I've had in ages.
Okay.
Like literally just a few weeks ago, I woke up in the middle of the night and there was a spider in my ear.
See, I don't need to hear that, because I've heard some story. I'm not going to go as far as some of the stories I've heard that happen to people. I'm not going there.
It was like not in the canal, but it was like
this.
It was not in the canal, but it was like in the like in the like depressed part of my ear, and I reached up because I was like, what is that? And I like flicked it out, and then I turned on the light, and and there it was on my bed, and I was like, no, this is horrible.
Let's keep moving.
It was so bad. I have to share it because it was horrible. I have to share my pain.
I know. This is you're not alone.
I couldn't even go back to sleep for a while because I was like,
so.
What am I supposed to do with this?
Right.
So she wakes up coughing, and then Mrs. Ganush is in the bed next to her and she rolls over on her and vomits maggots onto her face.
I love it.
And then suddenly Christine wakes up alone.
So gross. And it's all like
it's so gross.
It's all like sunny and it's all pleasant and beautiful, right?
Okay, if it makes you feel any better, after my very real spider story, the maggots are actually made out of pasta. So
okay. At
least the maggots were not real.
Yeah, I'd be pissed off if that happened.
Yeah, I would be like,
Nope.
I'm not sure I would do that for my art.
Yeah, no.
Not sure.
Nope.
Not sure about that.
Like real bees in Candyman, right?
Oh my God. Was it?
Yeah.
I forgot.
Those were real bees.
Oh yeah, that's right. Well, some of it was, I think. Not all of it,
I think the majority of those were, from what I understood, were real bees, but I mean, whatever.
But like when they're flying out of his stomach.
I think they're like real bees, I swear to God.
But what did they do? Like open up his cavity in his stomach and put bees in there?
Oh, I mean I think that some of that stuff's effect, obviously, but I think a lot of those.
Yeah, I think it's like
that might be CGI stuff. I don't know,
layered or something.
But I think a lot of those bees that you see are real in that movie. Yeah. Anyway,
I forget now. Oh my God, did we talk about that when we did Candyman?
We did, but no,
I must have blocked that back out because bees. Oh my God, I
just wanted to bring it up because it's
stingy, flyy things.
Yeah,
Ooh,
man.
No.
I know.
I want them to be alive because they
things.
make good honey and they are good for the environment and the ecology, but I don't want them to be around me.
Stingy, flyy things. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't want them to be around me.
Yeah, most people don't.
Okay, so that morning, Christine gets to work and she hears the fly in her stomach. And then Stu comes over to her desk and he wants her to teach him about loan procedures or something. And she's like, look, can we do it tomorrow? I'm like, I'm not feeling great. But he says, oh, sure, I'll just go tell Mr. Jax that you didn't want to. And she's like, no, fine, God.
Who acts like that, you know?
I mean, everybody in this movie is horrible.
Yes. Yes.
Like, there is not a person in this movie who's just like a good, kind person.
And neither is she.
No.
Not at all.
No, she's not a great person
No, she's
either.
really not. No.
She's a sweet person,
but she's not
I guess,
nice.
but she is not nice.
No, I don't think so.
She is not necessarily good. I mean, she definitely decides to put this woman out in the street so that she can get a promotion.
Sure does.
Like,
what's up with that?
She makes that decision consciously.
She does.
But people do these things. Like, this is real life. Like, people people make these decisions, and sometimes good people make bad decisions.
Yes, they do.
So yeah, I don't know. But definitely nobody in this is like making the kindest, best decision.
No, not really.
In that they could be making.
Not really.
So anyways, he says he'll tell Mr. Jax, and so she does, starts working with him on loan procedures. But then he's like got his hand on the desk, and she sees it as Miss Ganush's
nasty
fingers tapping on her desk, and she snaps.
Fingers, yeah.
She says,
Get your
filthy pig knuckles off my desk.
Pig knuckles, yeah.
And he's like, whoa.
Yeah, what are you talking
about?
And
backs away.
What is wrong with you?
And then the phone rings, and as she answers it, her nose starts bleeding
this scene, and
pretty profusely.
And she just like hits her nostril, and it just like sprays everywhere.
Yeah, right as Mr. Jax walks up, she touches her nostril to like stop it, and it goes and sprays all over Mr. Jax.
Like, there's no way that would ever happen like that. That's not possible. And it's like, oh my God, like this is so crazy.
It sprays out like when you see in horror movies someone gets stabbed in the heart, and it sprays out like that.
Right, which is like not possible. Like I don't know how that could happen.
It's like it's a gusher. It's just like,
and that was so cool. I bet to shoot that. That must have been awesome.
Oh my God.
I would have loved to have done and all the blood for that.
But again, it's so funny.
Right. It's so ridiculous. It's so like over the top. You know, yeah, it's just it's wacky. It's like slapstick, surreal comedy kind of way.
So she just like grabs her purse and runs out mortified.
That's the part too where it's a weird scene, because I thought again it's one of those scenes where they do in movies where you have a dream and then you back to reality and then it's another dream again.
But no, it's real.
I thought it was a dream again because like that really wouldn't happen. Nope. And then I'm like, oh, she runs off. Like, holy crap, that actually did happen.
Nope, that totally happened.
That is so weird. Like, it was such a weird
totally
scene.
Happened.
Yeah, it messed with you.
But of course, she runs out mortified, and I'm sure this is the reason this whole scene happened. She leaves her paperwork behind that she had done that the night before for Mr. Jax. And Stu walks over and just picks up her paperwork and walks off with it.
Of course he does.
So, of course, we remember Miss Ganush said, it will be you who will be begging me.
That's right.
So Christine goes to Miss Ganush's house.
And this does not...
presumably to beg her.
It does not go well.
It does not go well. She knocks on the door, and I guess it's her granddaughter who answers the door.
You probably,
And she knows about Christine. She knows she's from the bank. She's like, yeah, she told me you'd be coming. And she lets her in, and it's a party. No, it's a funeral.
Not really. Yeah, there's not so much.
It's actually, but it seems like a party at first. Like she walks in, and she's like, "Oh, it's a party." Nope, it's a funeral.
And who's the funeral for?
Oh, let's see. The funeral is for Mrs. Ganush.
She sure is.
And Christine like gets all flustered, and she falls backwards right on top of the corpse.
Again, this is like, these scenes are so ridiculous.
The corpse, like, she falls over the other way, the corpse falls on her, and bombing fluids pour out of its mouth into her mouth.
So gross.
So gross.
This is where this, like, okay, maybe this is where this Roger Rabbit thing for me, like, because some of those scenes in that movie are so, like, crazy and, like, just wacky like that with stuff falling down, and I don't know why that makes me think that, but it's just
I
so
guess in the
weird.
way that it is so. It is kind of slapsticky. Some of this
it's
stuff.
like ridiculous. Like, is this actually happening? Like, this is crazy.
Yeah, I guess I can see
It's
that.
wildly entertaining. I love it, but it's just crazy.
I guess I can see that.
I don't know.
So she gets up, and the granddaughter says, "You deserve everything that's coming to you."
Pretty much. And doesn't she tell you you're not welcome here or something like that? Or I don't know. Maybe that's all she
and
said.
that I think that's all she says. She might have said that earlier when
Yeah.
she's like trying not to let her in at
Right.
first, but
Okay,
she
that's
says,
right,
"You
that's
deserve everything that's coming to you."
Pretty much.
And Christine goes back to the psychic Ramjas.
Like, how do you like explain your way out of that situation? You just run out of the room, and you just have to just leave, right?
I think she just keeps fleeing the scene.
I mean, how do these things keep
I think she just
happening
keeps
to
being like,
her?
"Oh shit," and just running out.
Oh my god! I've had some. I mean, we've all had awkward things happen to us in public, but like, this is a little much. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Oh man.
Christine goes back to the psychic though, and Ramjas tells her that he believes the old woman summoned a Lamia to come after her and take her to hell.
Not a llama,
and that
a Lamia.
Yeah, and that she did this by taking the button from her and then giving it back. So it's like they take something from you and then they gift it back to you.
Right.
And that she could possibly
big possibility
appease the Lamia by sacrificing a small animal. And he gives her a book to tell her how to do it.
So I've always wanted to have like a big Samhain Halloween celebration with a sacrifice. Anyone want to join me with that?
No.
Okay. Just thought I'd throw it out there.
I mean, unless you're sacrificing like s'mores.
We can sacrifice whatever you'd like.
I will sacrifice many s'mores to my tummy.
We can do that if you'd like to.
So also in Greek mythology, a Lamia is a half woman, half serpent.
Oh, okay. I did not know that.
That hunts for children to feast on.
Ooh.
So she's kind of like a boogie woman.
A bogey?
A boogie woman? Is it bogey woman? Is it boogeyman or bogeyman?
The word originally came from, they were just called bogeys. That's it. And then it kind of evolved into the boogeyman.
Now it's boogeyman, right? Okay.
Like who? Like that. I love that Simpsons. Who is the Smithers? The Boger Man.
The Boger Man.
A bogey, yes. And in Irish, Celt, it was the bogies. Yes.
The bogies. Okay, so in
and the
Greek
Banshee,
mythology,
of course.
she was kind of a boogeyman.
Yes. Okay.
Or a bogey. Okay, so there are more noises. She gets home. There's more noises, but this time it's broad daylight. She sees a goat shadow again, which I guess is what we're calling the Lamia. Like they're saying that it's a goat demon thing. And she runs upstairs.
Is it Black Phillip?
Like that will help, right? Is it going to help to run upstairs if a freaking goat shadow is coming, like Goat Man shadow is coming after you?
I don't really know what to tell you about that one.
I don't think running upstairs helps. Anyway, she does run upstairs. She watches as the shadow of the thing as it climbs the stairs. And then she shuts and locks her bedroom door.
This reminds me a little bit of Dracula. Remember all the cool shit? It has so many
the shadows on the stairs.
The great shadows.
Stuff.
I love that. That reminded me of that.
So she shuts and locks her bedroom door, and she gets out her cell phone, which, if I remember correctly, is a flip phone.
Oh, they're back though, aren't they?
And well, now they're fold phones, where like the screen folds.
Hey, whatever, dude. Same thing.
But he's working, and he doesn't hear his phone buzzing. And this is where we get your thing. The shadow of two goat feet step beneath the door. And she sees them walk in. And then they turn into arms that reach for her along the floor.
I love that.
And she backs away. And then the window behind her shatters, and she gets hoisted into the air upside down.
Yes.
And she and all her belongings fly around the room
spinning
in a vortex.
Around like crazy. Yeah, it's nuts.
Until she finally drops to the floor and everything stops. And her room is a mother effing wreck.
Oh, yeah, it's trashed.
Yeah, it's completely trashed. Yeah. So she goes downstairs and she grabs a kitchen knife and starts calling, "Here, kitty, kitty, kitty. Here, kitty."
Not good.
And she finds her kitten in the laundry.
Yeah, she's kind of.
And this part makes me sad.
She's kind of losing her marbles at this point.
Yeah. So the next thing we see
But
is
she's
Christine
desperate to-
burying the kitten in the backyard.
She's, you know what? Let me tell you something. When you think you got a curse on you and you're desperate for
She's
something,
very desperate.
I don't know,
it's
man.
again, though, it's another not good or kind decision.
No, not so
Like,
much.
It is a very selfish, like, doing what I got to do for
Cruel
me kind of
thing
decision.
to do. Yeah, I
it's
mean,
cruel. Yeah.
It's pretty cruel.
So we see her burying the kitty and in the backyard, and Clay shows up and he notices blood on her sleeve, but she says it's just tomato juice. She was cutting a tomato earlier, which is like, tomato juice is not that like dark red, guys. Let's just, in case somebody tells you it's just tomato juice, if it is like red, almost black, it is not tomato juice.
Because that would actually become really more translucent, quite frankly, coming out of tomato.
Right.
It would dry on you and you wouldn't even know about it, actually.
Right, or it would just be a slight, like, pale red stain.
Yes,
like on if you were wearing something light, but
right, exactly.
But it is not going to be. Just so you know, pro tip from us guys:
tomatoes.
If they say it's tomato juice and it is deep, dark, almost black red,
it is blood.
Not tomato juice. Get out of there.
It's most likely cat blood. Yes.
Get out of there.
Leave.
So he tells her, they're supposed to do dinner with his parents that night. He tells her we can do it another time. You've had a rough couple of days, but she really wants to do it.
No, I'm excited. I want to go. Yeah.
And as we all know, that's going to go really well.
Well, it went okay for a while.
I mean, for a little while. So they go to Clay's parents, and Christine has bought a harvest
wealthy,
cake.
Incredibly filthy rich parents, I might add.
Yes. Christine has made and brought a harvest cake. Yes. It's like a farm thing. And
I love me some
Clay's
harvest
mom
food.
is kind of bitchy about it.
Very
And then their cat,
she's being
named Tekuba.
Very snobby.
Did you catch that? The cat's named Tekuba.
Oh, I did not see that part. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the cat is named Tekuba, which I thought was cute. Which is the goddess of witches, I believe.
Okay.
And so the cat hisses at Christine.
Yeah, doesn't like it.
And Christine is like, oh no, it's fine. I had a cat.
And he's like, what do you mean had?
And Clay's like, what do you mean had? You have a cat. Right. She's like, well, and she just kind of like plays it off. And he's like,
it to death today and buried it.
He's like, what?
Right.
Oh, she's like, you know what cats are like? Like
they come and go.
They're here and then they're not. And then, they come and go. It's, girl, he's just like,
girl, you
okay,
crazy.
Weirdo.
Right. Listen, crazy.
So then at dinner, Clay's mom is still being rude, but his dad is being nice. And then it comes out that Christine doesn't see much of her mother.
And how about this? How about he refers to his dad as sir? Did you notice that?
I didn't notice
when he greeted
that.
him. Like that's a very odd relationship. But anyway,
I didn't notice that. But his dad seemed much warmer and like
he did, but
pleasanter to her.
Yes.
So it comes out that Christine doesn't see much of her mother, and Clay's mom's pretty rude about that too.
Yes, she is.
And then finally, Christine admits that
they're a bunch of rich jerks that have no class or no culture or common sense.
But the interesting thing is that once Christine admits that it's because her mother's an alcoholic, Clay's mom suddenly really likes her. Yes. She's like, I admire your honesty and all this stuff. And so then she likes her and things start going really nice.
Yeah.
And Christine hears something, but nobody else does.
Nope. And
they're all eating her cake and they're having a grand time and they're talking to her. And now all of a sudden everything's great.
They're best buddies.
But she sees an eye in her cake.
Pretty gross. And then I think bugs again, right?
Well, hold on. First, she stabs the eye.
Yes, that's right.
And I think she sees a bug too. She stabs the eye, and it sucks the fork up.
Right.
And then Christine tries to take a bite, but a fly comes out of her mouth. And then she just hears the stomping.
Yeah.
And so she sees the shadow again and she jumps up and screams, okay, I hear you. Just leave me alone. Just leave me the hell alone. Right. And Clay's parents are just like,
what?
Staring at her aghast.
Yeah, I mean, what would you say, I suppose? I don't know, you know?
And she just leaves. Again, she just flees the scene. She's like, this is awkward. Bye.
I'm out.
And she goes straight to the psychic and yells at him for having her kill her kitten.
Yep.
Right. And he's like, I said it might help.
I didn't guarantee it.
He's like, I said it might help. And then she calms down and he tells her that she has to speak directly to the spirit and he knows someone who can help, but that this woman will need $10,000.
Wow. Could you imagine that?
$10,000 for, I mean,
it would take a minute to like get that money. Just like, you know,
I mean, but if you're gonna risk your life confronting a goat demon for somebody, I feel like 10,000 is not that bad.
Oh, believe me, I'd clean out my 401k in a heartbeat. Here, you can have everything. Get rid of this.
Get rid of it. Jesus.
Here's everything I own. God, here's the
take
deed.
Everything. Just end it.
Here's the deed to my house. Here's everything. God, yes, please.
So the next morning, she asks her boss for an advance on the new job, but he tells her that the big loan she was working on, the client that was going to come in, fell through.
Yep.
And it doesn't look good for her right now.
Nope.
With that promotion.
Nope.
She goes home and she starts to leave, and he's starting to say, like, you know, why don't you've had a rough couple of days, why don't you? And she's like, peace out. She runs out again.
Yep, fleeing the scene.
She goes home, collects things for the pawn shop, and as she's in her shed, like, collecting things, Mrs. Ganush attacks her, and she puts her entire fist and first, like, half of her arm down Christine's throat.
Gross. Again, it's like crazy.
And then,
like,
it's so gross.
Yeah, but I love it.
Everything going into Christine's mouth makes me uncomfortable.
It's pretty disgusting, isn't it?
And Christine, and this is actually why I think you were remembering Roger Rabbit.
Okay, yeah, please dig
Christine releases a freaking anvil.
There you go.
That was tied up to the ceiling.
Maybe that's
and it smashes Mrs. Ganush's head.
Maybe that's
and
it.
her eyes pop out
there
and fly into Christine's face.
There it is. Okay, good. We got it. Okay, I knew there was something there. All right, I wasn't crazy. Well, maybe I'm crazy.
I think this is the moment.
Okay, maybe that's my Roger Rabbit. This has to be the moment
where you were like, Roger Rabbit.
I just couldn't remember. Okay, that's it.
Because all those cartoons always have the anvil
and they had,
smashing people and stuff. And then the eyes pop out. That's ridiculous.
Maybe the Raimis were like, we need to add some crazy, you know, comic cartoon thing in here. Yeah.
We need a little comic relief here. So her eyes pop out, fly into Christine's face, and then everything stops.
Yep.
So Christine goes to the pawn shop. She only gets $3,800.
Not even like $4,000 for everything. Yeah.
So she does what I would do if I was going to die the next morning. She goes home and she eats ice cream.
Hey, it solves a lot of problems, right?
I would just be like, all right, I don't have to worry about my weight or anything, so I'm just going to eat a ton of ice cream.
Because I'm going to be dead.
I'm going to eat my weight in ice cream.
Yep.
And that will be that.
Yep.
So then Clay shows up and he tells her that he paid Ramjas.
Yep.
And she's like, but you don't believe in it. And he says he doesn't know what he believes in anymore, but he knows that she believes in it and he wants to help her. And he gives her this sweet speech.
That's the thing. He's the one guy who he stands by her and he's trying to be a good dude. So.
Yeah, he's still kind of a pompous ass, but he at least is trying to be a good guy.
I'm not exonerating him and giving him a medal here. I'm just saying he's doing a good job of, you know, standing by his girlfriend no matter what happens here.
And I'm saying he, of all the people in this, is probably the least like
douchey?
The least dicky. Yeah, like he is kind of a pompous ass,
but he's
like. He cares about her. He wants to help.
He loves her.
He gives her this sweet speech about how he loves her and when he first knew he loved her and all that stuff. It's sweet.
No matter how crazy all this stuff sounds, he's standing by her. Exactly. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
So Clay drops Christine off at the woman's house. And it's the woman from the opening. It's the house from the opening.
Yep. Yep.
With the farm workers family. And so it is Sean Sandina.
It kind of reminds me of like
much older Sean Sandina.
It's like the Winchester Mystery House kind of, right? In San Jose. Reminds you of that?
I don't know. Does it look like that?
I think it
I don't think it looks like that. Does it?
Maybe a little bit. Maybe a little bit. I don't know.
Maybe. But so Sean Sandina tells Christine about the little boy. And like that's why she wants to do this, because she's always known that she lost him to the Lamia and she wants to.
She gets it, yeah.
To do it again, to try it again. And so she tells her that she needs her help to summon the Lamia. And that her husband built their house here because it's a place, basically, I can't remember exactly what she says, but basically it's like a place where the veil is thin.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And then, so here's another tidbit. They go into a room to hold like a seance. And it's like a big, huge room.
Yes,
and in this room, on the walls, there are Greek letters. They're from the book of Revelation, chapter 12.
Okay.
It says...
And
they conquered by the blood of the Lamb. I do quote.
Yeah.
It says, and
Sorry,
and they conquered.
I messed you all up.
You did,
Yeah.
totally. Okay. It says, and they conquered by the blood of the Lamb. Wherefore rejoice, heavens, woe to earth and sea. For the devil has come down to you having great wrath, knowing his time is short.
I don't know
So
what all
there you
that. I don't know
go.
what all that means.
That's
but
what's on the walls.
Kind of scary because
I mean, a lot of stuff in the Bible, let's be honest, sounds kind of scary.
it does. Sounds kind of scary.
So that's what it says on the walls. And so they bring in a goat and they sit at the table with it in the center of the room. And Sean Sandina says to Christine, when the spirit has entered me, put my hand onto the animal. Do you understand? I'll force the spirit into the goat. And she hands the knife that she just blessed to her assistant. And then Ram Dass gets Christine to chant, I welcome the dead into my soul. And so she's chanting that over and over. And then the chandelier shakes, and a teacup flies off the table, a different table, and shatters. And Sean says, it's not the Lamia. There are spirits here that are I guess attracted to it. And so she has to ward them off. And apparently Sam Raimi is one of those spirits during the exorcism scene.
Okay, cool.
So apparently he made a little cameo
you got
there.
to, man. You got to.
A little cameo. And then she gets rid of the spirits, and then she says, he is coming. And things start to move, and the whole place shudders. And then the Lamia goes into Sean, and she's doing this thing, and then he goes into her.
Well, how does that go?
I think.
Got it.
And then,
thank you.
So they say, I think it's Ram Dass says, Lamia, what is it you desire? And she says, I desire the soul of Christine Brown. We will feast upon it as she festers in the grave.
It's good.
Thank you. Hurts my throat a little.
Brought your strong impression game tonight.
It hurt my throat, but it was totally worth it. Worth it. So Christine tries to blame it on her manager, right?
Right.
To the Lamia. Tries to make the excuse to the Lamia. They're no, my manager made me.
And then she starts actually trying to justify this during a freaking seance. What are you doing?
Right. And
I love it. It's not my fault.
It's no, it was my manager.
And I
he
think
made me.
That had to have been written in there on purpose because it was just funny. It's just funny.
It's she's so ridiculous at this point.
Yeah, why are you justifying this? Right, this is ridiculous. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, exactly. So Ram Dass tries to distract it, and when it reaches for Christine, she grabs his hand or grabs Sean Sandia's hand and puts it on the goat.
Yep.
And then the voice goes from Sean Sandia to the goat, and it says, you tricked me, you black-hearted whore.
That's pretty good. Yep, I love it. That's what That's what the goat would sound like if he talked, right?
you black-hearted whore. That is the funniest moment in the whole movie to me.
It's pretty good. It's so lame.
And it's this animatronic goat.
It's so lame, but it's so great. Yeah, I know.
It's so funny.
I know, it's good.
So then the assistant is supposed to slice his throat, so it tries to slash at it, but he accidentally cuts the rope instead.
Yeah.
Because he's a great assistant.
Right.
And the Lamia goat bites him, and then now the Lamia is in him, and he rises up into the air, and he's dancing in the air,
it's
basically being
crazy.
An asshole.
There's just a lot of weird stuff going on.
Yeah, there's just a whole lot happening right now.
It's you could just take the seance theory and just do whatever you wanted with it, and just turn into this crazy event. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's a huge. So Ram Dass tries to banish it. That doesn't work. It traps Christine as she tries to get out. It wings a telepathically moves a big desk in front of the door as she's trying to leave.
And then most things that happen to her in her life, it's not going well.
No, it's not going well. And then it pukes up her kitten.
Yes, it's disgusting.
more puking.
Yeah. There's a lot of vomit and projectiles.
Lot of vomit and like a lot of bodily fluids.
Yeah, pretty gross.
Movie.
Pretty gross, but I like it.
Yeah. So I love it though. It pukes up like so it's just this dude. I mean, because he's possessed, but his mouth just like wah, and the kitten just like comes out.
That's gross.
And then Sean Sandia finally comes to, and she banishes the Lamia successfully. And Christine hugs her, and she's like, "You did it!" But Sean dies in her arms.
She sure does. Yep, it was just too
womp
much.
Womp.
Yeah.
So then they're outside, and Christine is saying like, "Oh, she can't believe that Sean, Sandia waited her whole life to get the Lamia, and on her last night alive, she did it." And Ram Dass is like, "Oh no, that ain't what happened. She drove it from the seance, but she did not get rid of it. And when the night ends, it will come for the owner of the cursed object."
Dude, like, when is this going to end? Right.
Yeah. Well, and then he tells her only chance is to give the button to someone else, but that means that they will burn in hell for eternity.
Better you than me. That's what I say.
So yeah. So Christina's driving home, and she's telling him like, "No, it's all over. It's fine." And then she sees Miss Ganush, and it turns out that Clay has almost hit an old man crossing the street. I think the old man tells him to go to hell.
You burn in hell, crazy old man.
Yeah, he's like, "You burn in hell." Crazy
old man.
Yeah, you're bringing your A game on the impressions too there.
Well, I always come with the impressions.
You always come with the impressions.
Or I try to.
So Clay pulls up at her house, and she tells him she'll meet him at the station for the trip. There's just something she has to take care of first because they're getting ready to go away for the weekend. And then she realizes, oh no, her envelope with the button in it is gone. And she's going through his papers on the floor.
When they hit the brakes, not hit the guy, all the papers came out of her purse.
Her stuff falls out. Yeah,
flying. Right.
So she's like rifling through the papers on the floor, and she finds the envelope, and she's like, "Oh, thank God!" And she leaves.
Yep.
And then later, she sits at a diner, and she's eyeing people to give the button to, and she spots this like older man with an oxygen tank,
drinking coffee, and then yelling at the waitress. And
being rude to the waitress,
being generally unpleasant to everyone.
Yeah, being rude to the waitress.
Yeah, she's like,
really.
I know people that come and they drink coffee.
Key way to be there,
and they don't tip. And she's like, just bring me, or she's just mean. Yeah, whatever. Well,
yeah, she's like, just bring me another coffee, I'll give you. She's bring me another coffee, or I'll give you a tip you won't forget. She's like threatening to give her the button.
Well, if I had been cursed and I might die, I'd probably be fairly rotten too. So,
maybe. I mean, maybe that's part of what this is about, is what that fear of death will do to us. Like the lengths we'll go to.
Dude, I don't even want to think about that.
The way we'll behave when we are afraid that death is imminent.
Dude, I'm telling you, man.
Yeah, that's
scurry.
That's a downer.
Yeah, it's a bummer.
That's a bummer. So yeah, she's being rude to the waitress, and she's eyeing people to give the button to. And she spots an older man with an oxygen tank, but then his wife brings him food. His little old wife brings him food.
That would just be
like,
so horribly mean to do that to that man. I can't imagine.
Yeah, she's like, she can't do it. And so she calls Stu, and she threatens to tell Mr. Jacks that he stole the loan file off her desk.
Sure does.
And gave it to another bank. And he comes running because she's like, "You better be here in 10 minutes." And he books it over there. And she almost gives him the envelope. She's like, "I just need to give this to you." And he's like, "But I thought you were going to." She's like, "I just need to give this to you. Just, you understand, this belongs to you." She's about to give him the envelope, and he starts crying. And she's just like, "Ugh." And she tells him to leave.
He's such a loser. Come on,
and
dude.
he's like, "Thank you. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Thank you."
I'm just ass.
And then she sees Mrs. Ganush's obituary, and she goes back to Ram Dass, and she asks him if she can gift the button to someone who's already dead. And he says, "Yeah." He looks some things up. He says, "Yeah, he thinks that'll work."
There's really apparently no rules to any of this, so why the hell not?
Yeah, he's like, well, in some cultures, I guess they give gifts to the dead. So yeah, I think that would work. So she drives to the cemetery, And while she's driving there, Mrs. Ganush's handkerchief flies into her windshield and then gets sucked up into her car and flies out of the vent into her face.
And she almost chokes on it.
Yeah, she's like, and she like stops the car and gets out and pries it off her face and tries to go down her throat, and she pulls it out and she like rips it up. But coincidentally, she is already at the cemetery. So she goes in and she digs Mrs. Ganush up.
Sure does.
And she pries open the coffin and she wrestles with the corpse until it manages somehow to pull out some of her hair.
Yeah, again.
And she's like, that's the last bit of my hair you get.
Well, it's like the second time she's ripped her hair out. Yeah. And again, it's this awkward,
ridiculous.
just disgusting fumbling with
it's so gross. And she's like fumbling around with the corpse.
And just
and then she tries to like put the envelope in the corpse's hand, but like the rigor mortis, I guess it's like stiff and it won't go in. So she shoves it down her throat.
Is that when she says, Christine, whatever, hereby give this gift to you?
I, Christine Brown,
choke on it, you stupid
officially bitch. Make the gift of this to you. And she
I love it.
She shoves it down her throat. And like, it's storming out now and the grave is filling with water.
It's like
and
in Poltergeist, right? When they're in the backyard, right?
Yes, but that's the swimming pool. I mean, it's also a mass grave.
Same kind of thing.
But yeah, definitely. So she's like trying to get out. She almost drowned. She finally makes it out as the sun is rising.
Yep.
And the mud in the cemetery scene, by the way, towards the end of the film, it's made out of methyl cellulose.
What the hell is that?
Oreo cookie dye.
Why couldn't they just use mud?
But it's made out of that and Oreo cookie dye.
I mean, that sounds like a lot of work when you could just use mud.
Apparently, they couldn't use regular mud
because mud is
because
free.
She has serious allergies.
Ah, okay.
And so, like regular mud that had things in it,
Got it.
like
Got it.
if it wasn't like something pure and clean
It
or
had to have
something,
been
apparently she had allergies.
Be manufactured. Okay.
Yeah.
I see.
Or like it would have to be like serious like facial mud or something like that, probably.
Okay.
But anyways, the special effects team also built a steel tank in the shape of a triangle.
Okay.
And so they created dams in the set. So that they could adjust the height of the mud from all three sides while they were pouring the concoction in.
That's cool.
Yeah. So that's another like pretty heavy duty thing they cooked up there to do that, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, so she gets out as the sun is rising, and at home she takes a shower, and Mr. Jax leaves a message as she's showering that he found out what Stu did, and she's going to be the assistant manager when she comes in on Monday morning. Yeah, we won't be hearing from him again.
Yeah. And
she's going to be the assistant manager.
It's so nice. The world's great.
Yeah, she's going on a trip. She's got the job.
Yeah.
It's awesome. She gets to the train station. There's like a store there, and she sees a pretty new coat. She's lost her button, so she gets a new blue coat. Yeah. And when she meets Clay,
and
she does the right thing.
And what did he have in his pocket while he's waiting?
Well, hold on. We'll get there. She meets Clay. She admits to him that it was her decision not to give Mrs. Ganush the loan. And then Clay tells her it's too bad she got rid of the old coat because he found the button for it. And he figures she mistook the envelope with her button for the one with his collectible coin.
Well, I was only going to say just back it up because remember he has the ring with him in his pocket before. When when she's in the store buying the coat, he's standing on the platform and he pulls out.
And he's got a ring.
He's got the ring. So he was going to propose.
So she's going to get engaged and everything. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Sorry, I thought you were jumping ahead.
No.
And you were actually backing me up.
Nope, you're good. Go
My
ahead.
bad. But yes, he was going to propose to her. So she was going to have the job. She was going to get proposed to.
She got it all.
Got it all. She took the curse back to Mrs. Ganush. She's everything's perfect. The end. Except
not so much
because he found the button and she must have mistook the envelope.
And you're the audience watching. You're going, oh my god.
Yeah, you're like, oh crap.
Oh no.
The first time I saw this, I was like, wait a minute, they're going to do this? Like, wait, they're really going to do this?
But you are not really ready for what's going to happen, really, I don't think. But
no. So she panics. Here it comes. She panics and she backs away until she falls down onto the train tracks.
And he's like, whoa, stop. Because she's like slowly.
He's like, whoa. And she just like
and
keeps
she falls onto the track.
and she falls onto the tracks, like on her back. And then the train is coming, and Clay reaches down to get her, but the earth opens up, and there's fire, and arms come out and grab her, and like the train comes over as like she's getting dragged under, and Clay is just like staring in shock.
Yeah, well, I mean,
and then he just, I love it though. They have a close up of him, and he's like staring there in shock, and then he just looks at the button,
right?
Like, because of this thing, like, all because of this little thing. And then we get the final, like the black screen. It just says, "Drag me to hell."
I love that.
All in caps.
And I love that. I love that. That was a great title to throw up there to end it.
So I have a little bit about her getting dragged under.
Okay.
The VFX team built a hydraulic cylinder.
Okay.
And 2 types of like clear lucite chairs.
Okay.
On a green screen set. And she would like get on the chairs, and then the puppeteers were in like the green suits with prosthetic hands to pull her down.
Goodness.
And so then while she was on the chairs, they would lower her into the cylinder, and that was filled with like plastic rubber rocks so that they would look similar to the rocks on the train tracks.
And they just composite it all together then, huh?
Yep. And then they just composited it all together. Isn't that cool?
Good. It looks good.
It looks really good.
It does. But that is like, that, I mean, I don't know if it's certainly not out of nowhere, but it's kind of like it's kind of a sucker punch, because you're kind of like, you know, I wasn't sure. You didn't think it was going to be a happy ending, but you're like, damn, you're like, that is hardcore, which is one of the things I love about it, which is why I have to tell you about what the original ending was going to be. Yeah, I'd love to hear that. I don't know that
and you'll tell me what you think.
I've seen this now twice, but I'd never really done much research in it, but
so the original ending, I don't know if maybe the original or an earlier ending, an earlier idea for the ending. Was that as a B plot, Clay's mother hires Stu to assassinate, or I guess it's not assassinate, but to murder Christine, because she doesn't want her son to marry her.
She's not a head of state. I don't think assassinate qualifies.
Yeah, so it's not assassinate. But she hires. So the mother hires Stu to kill Christine so that her son won't marry her.
Sure.
And then he shows up at the train station when they've just realized that the button and the thing have been switched. He shows up at the train station with a gun.
Okay.
And somehow she gets the button. She gets the button to him. He takes something or something. I can't remember exactly how it happens, but he ends up with the button, and so he gets dragged to hell.
So was this an idea? Was this shot, or this was just an idea?
No, I think this was just an earlier idea, which I feel like not as powerful at all, right? Because I feel like that is so just like standard societal, like societal morality. The worst person has to be the one who gets punished.
We spent the whole 90 minutes watching her do everything she could to get out of this, and we thought she did, and then bam, nope.
Yeah, it's got to be about her. It can't suddenly be, oh, she just gets out of it because some other guy is worse than her. Like, it's like it would just be like a stereotypical, like the movies where it's like, well, they had sex, so they're dying. Like, it's he's the worst guy, so he goes to hell.
Yep.
We want him to go to hell because he's a worse person than she is.
Go to hell and you die. Yes. No, I agree. This was the perfect, and it would definitely.
I think this was just so much. It packs a punch.
Yes, it does.
The first time I saw it, I remember being like,
"Oh yeah,
oh my god, they did it! Like they went there."
Right. And what I loved this time was I hadn't seen it in so long, probably 10 years, and I was so excited to watch that scene again because I hadn't seen it in so long, and I thought, okay, this is going to be so much fun to watch again, and it was great. I love that.
Yeah, I definitely remember like the first time I saw it being like, oh, what? That was so cool.
It's unique. It's a different kind of movie. Like I said, it's got these things that remind me of other movies. It's unique. It's interesting. It's kind of funny. It's this cool like curse movie that I think is a good, like topic, and I like how they did it. Yeah, I think it's very entertaining. I like it. I mean, it's funny, and I mean, it's scary. It's gross, which I like. It checks a lot of boxes for me,
So I do have to hit on another social justice moment.
Okay, please.
Tara's social justice moment.
Yes, it'll be all right.
Some critics complained about this. They said it was sort of misogynistic and that it was kind of like women shouldn't be too ambitious because that's not how, women who are too ambitious and try to get competitive, they go to hell.
You know what? I'm sorry that's going too deep for me. I
can see it. Like, I mean, as a woman, I've seen this shit and I can see it, but I don't really think that that's what it was meant to be at all.
No,
I feel like that is, if that is there, I feel like the reason it's a woman is not because it's about teaching women a lesson that they go to hell if they try to get ahead like a man would. I think it's a woman because you want it to be someone who feels more innocent and vulnerable and sweet in that way, that she's like,
you wouldn't care if it was a dude. You wouldn't care.
She is that country girl. She's that sweet farm girl.
You would not give a crap if it was a guy.
It needs to be someone who seems sweet and innocent, and it just wouldn't work as well with the guy. It would not work. Think.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. I'm
so
sorry. I can't.
While I understand the idea that they are proposing, I don't think that's what it really is. No.
I can't get on board. I think that's
or what it really. I think it's worth more than just that.
I don't think that's.
I think that's simplifying it too much.
I think that's going far with it. I don't think that's what they meant at all. I don't think it has anything to do with it. Nope.
Yeah, nope. I think it simplifies what the movie is getting at. It's hitting the wrong mark, I think, for the movie, because I think the movie is more about like when you are cursed, like
that's what it's about. It's not that's what it's about.
That shit is serious.
Yes.
Like it is not just like, oh, we get it. It was about like, this can happen to anybody. It's supposed to be scary. This can happen to anybody, right? We were talking a little bit earlier about it's that like death comes for us all.
Yep.
No,
they dig deep into this, and it's like, it makes
you can't get out of it.
It's real.
You can't. Some things you can't get away from. You just can't be good enough to get away.
Yeah, it's
or do the right things to get away.
It's not just some silly subplot or some stupid story. Like this is really happening to her, and like, holy crap, what would happen? So, no, I'm sorry, I'm not buying that whole that whatever you mentioned. I think that's crazy too. No, it's just a story about this, and I think it's well done, and I found it entertaining, and I think that's all there is to it.
Yeah. So you were saying it reminds you of some other films. It does apparently borrow fairly heavily from Jacques Tourneur's film Curse of the Demon.
I have not seen that.
From 1957.
Okay.
It was based on a story called Casting the Runes by M.R. James.
Okay.
And the ending is very similar.
Okay.
The ending in the train station and like the way she goes out is very similar. So apparently it borrows quite a bit from that.
Okay.
So someday I'll have to check that one out.
Yeah, definitely.
And I have a couple little more tidbits for you.
Okay.
This is the only PG-13 rated horror film that Sam Raimi has directed.
I think I did hear that.
And I find that interesting because PG-13 horror movies are often very...
Jaws is rated PG. I'll just point that out.
Yeah, well, Jaws is not just a horror movie, though. It is so much more than just a horror movie.
I just always use that as an example of ratings. It's
but
PG.
horror movies, a lot of the time, like PG-13 ones, I often feel like they're like a little weak sauce. This is not.
No, a lot of times it honestly just means there's just not as much senseless violence, quite frankly.
Yeah.
So
there you go. So there's a little
language.
tidbit. And then here's the other tidbit.
Okay.
Bruce Campbell has appeared one way or another in every other film Raimi has directed.
Oh, is he in this somewhere? I didn't see him.
He turned down a role because he was busy being on Burn Notice, the TV show.
Okay. I was going to say, I feel like I would have noticed him in there, and I don't remember.
Nope. This is the one that he couldn't do.
Oh, well, that's okay.
This is the one that he
we
couldn't
love.
do.
Everybody loves Bruce Campbell. So
So sad.
yeah, this was entertaining. It is good.
Yeah, I really like this movie. I think, despite the feeling of some people that it's misogynistic, I definitely think it's worth a watch.
I'm not buying
I think that is not the intent at all, and not the main message that I get from the movie.
No, heck no.
By any means.
Nope.
Especially because like she ends up getting the promotion.
Yeah.
So
she just happens to die because of a horrible curse. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, like in the office place.
Although she dead?
Is cutthroat, she is competitive, and she gets the freaking promotion in the end.
Yeah, she does. That's right. Right.
She gets
the world is hers until, unfortunately it's
not. The curse, because the curse is indiscriminate, and she's been cursed, and that's it.
That's right.
That's the end.
That's right.
So yeah, I don't know. I feel like they're a little off base on that one, but
yeah,
I think it's definitely worth watching. I think it holds up well. I mean, it's
10-year-old movie. Yeah. 12
10 years old now. Yeah
10 or 11 now.
Yeah, 12 years old now. Yeah, 11, 12 years old now.
Yeah.
And it holds up, I think.
No, that's good. I don't think there's anything that's dated really, so no.
No, even the effects didn't look to me like, oh, that's so silly.
Yeah,
like
no,
they looked
good.
pretty good.
They're good. They're good.
Yeah, I like this movie.
Yeah, it's good.
We recommend watching it.
I do.
I think we both do.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Good movie. All right. So next up, guys, we're doing The Fog with Adrienne Barbeau. Very exciting. The 1980s one.
Yes. John Carpenter. Oh, love it. It's so good. Can't wait to talk about it.
Very, very excited about that.
Yes.
Excited to be getting back to some like more classic horror too, which should be fun.
Yeah.
And I will do our infamous now outro. Please, please, please.
I beg of you.
Yes, I beg of you. I am a proud woman, but I will beg you.
Hey, you know what? Don't shame Tara, right?
Do not shame me.
No,
Subscribe to the podcast. Do not shame me.
Or she'll barf all over you.
No, I won't. That's gross.
No, probably not.
But do please subscribe, follow, get so you get the notifications and all that stuff. Rate and review us on iTunes or wherever. I think you can even rate us on Facebook if you can't rate us on wherever you're listening.
Bring it.
And don't forget, guys, you can also send us your movie suggestions. We do them. You can hear us telling you that we've done a suggestion from somebody. So send us your movie suggestions. Send us your thoughts on stuff we've watched so far. You can send all that to thescarymovieproject@gmail.com. Yes. And you can follow us on Facebook and Instagram at The Scary Movie Project. Peace out.
Look both ways before crossing the street.
Always.
The Scary Movie Project podcast is produced by Tara Garwood and Matt Lulich. Learn more at thescarymovieproject.com.